What's good, guys? Let me give you guys a trade breakdown on how I caught these sells on gold. As you guys know, I don't really sell gold that much, but today was showing a significant sell. So what we could see is obviously I was expecting a bounce from this demand. We didn't really get that. Then we had this push. I was expecting this bounce to hold, but it did not hold this bounce. So we went back lower. So once we went back lower and we did take out this low, I was expecting price to continue going lower. Now I did put in the daily analysis that if not, no buy still here. No buy still here means that I'm not gonna buy, but it doesn't mean I will tape. It doesn't mean I won't TP earlier, right? Because I mean, why would I not TP here? Because we might not go here till tomorrow, you know. So that's what the reason why I chose to TP here. Now, if you go to the 5 minute to just give you guys a little rundown, we can see obviously that we had this supply chain beautifully right here. We had this break of structure. This was the supply that broke this demand and broke that demand and took all this liquidity. So that is good. Then we had a reaction. Then we had a small break of structure. I don't really call that break of structure, but regardless, we had that sweep of the high and still respected the supply and continued to break structure, which shows that the supply is valid, right? So essentially all we are trying to do is just go lower, right? That's the whole idea. So then what I did is I simply waited for price to come into my supply, which it did after that bounce. A lot of people were thinking that it was going to be buys from this bounce. I wasn't really favoring buys because we are looking to come down lower. Anyways, we had that huge push, we had that wick, then we swept the wick, the liquidity. Um, After that, we broke structure to the downside. It's a really small break of structure, not really something major. We came here to retest this demand. This will also engineer more liquidity, whatever you want to call it, and take out more buyers. Then we came back into that supply, and obviously this is still a supply chain. You could change this all the way up from here, so it is still very valid. So we had this liquidity sweep, we had this break of structure. We came back into that supply. Then what I simply did is I waited for price to come into the supply, which it did right here. You guys can see we came into the supply. I saw this push lower and I just simply entered on the continuation, which is three downward candles. This is a risky entry and price came close to my stop loss. I would have favored a chalk flip here, but I couldn't get it. Although I did look at the 15 second, and the 15 second was also showing me good signs. I actually kind of entered based off this as well, based off that break of structure. To just get a simple break of structure. Now, obviously, it kind of wicked that down and I entered a little bit earlier, but that's fine. It was a simple 1 to 2, very simple, very easy. But I would have favored a chalk flip here. I would have probably gotten better risk reward or more conviction, but I was pretty confident that we would take out these lows and go to that demand. The demand being this one. Now I do still anticipate that we will go lower towards this demand here, but that might not happen till tomorrow. I'm just taking a little bit big because I mean, what's the point of taking it here if not here? It's the same thing because it's gonna bounce. If it's gonna bounce from hold demand anyway. So that's pretty much that, and probably we would take all that liquidity and then maybe come here if you want to re-short. So yeah, that is a breakdown on how I took a 2R on this trade.